the current day Black American community, most of the Black American community, most Black people in America, they won't live to see the age of Aquarius. You know, the age of Aquarius. You know, that's gonna be that 1,000-year reign of God. You know, the age of Aquarius is gonna officially begin after the Babylonian collapse. You know, and after the Babylonian collapse, according to the Bible, after the Babylonian collapse, then comes the 1,000-year reign of God. You know, and a 1,000-year reign of God, to put that in three-dimensional earthly terms, that's equivalent to the 1,000-year reign of the black man. Because the black man is God. And on the earthly plane, on the earthly humanly plane, God operates through the black man. So, and that 1,000-year reign of the black man is basically synonymous with the age of Aquarius, you know. But right now, we're at the cusp of the end of Pisces, and we're at the cusp at the beginning of Aquarius, but we're not totally officially in the age of Aquarius yet, you know. First, we have to see the full Babylonian collapse. And when Babylon collapses, 2/3 of Israelites are going to fall with Babylon, you know. And that's 2/3 of Israelites, you know. Israelites meaning seeds of Israel. Seeds of Israel meaning your paternal lineage traces back to Israel. You're the seed of your father. And not all black Americans, like I've said in one of my other videos, not all black Americans are the seeds of Israel. You know, not all black Americans' paternal lineage traces back to Israel. According to genetic studies, some genetic studies of like DNA ancestry, about 30 to 40%, 30 to 40%, damn, that's damn near half, almost half. About 30 to 40% of black American men, paternal line traces back to Europe. You know, so that basically means 30 to 40% of black Americans are not Israelites, are not the seeds of Israel, meaning they aren't Israelites. So 2/3 of Israelites, 2/3 of God's chosen people, you know, Israelites are God's chosen people. So 2/3 of Israelites won't make it through the Babylonian collapse. You know, 2/3 of Israelites are going to fall with Babylon. And, you know, black people are Israelites. Israelites are black people, but not all black people are Israelites. So 2/3 of the Israelites are going to fall with Babylon. So the death rate of the black people in Babylon who are not Israelites are going to be even higher. If 2/3 of God's chosen people are finna fall with Babylon, if If 2/3 of Israelites, God's chosen people, are going to fall with Babylon, what do you think is going to happen to the non-Israelites who aren't God's chosen people? What do you think is going to happen to the black people who aren't Israelites, who aren't God's chosen people? Their death rate is going to be even higher than the Israelites. You know, they call it the Babylonian collapse for a reason. The Babylonian collapse is metaphorical for the collapse of the Gentiles. So mainly Gentiles are going to fall with Babylon. And that's not only including other races. That includes the black Americans who are Gentiles as well. That includes the 2/3 of Israelites who have the Gentile mentality. And Gentiles are whoever isn't Gentiles are people who aren't Israelites, who aren't God's chosen people. So 2/3 of Israelites, God's chosen people, are going to fall with Babylon. And the black people who are Gentiles, they're going to have an even higher death rate. Than the black people who are Israelites. So we're going to see a whole lot of black people fall with Babylon. And there's a reason to this. I mean, God does everything for a reason. You know, this current black American community is dysfunctional as fuck. You know, and it didn't get, the black American community didn't get this dysfunctional overnight, you know. You guys know our history, you know. And a few generations ago, you know, it may not have been this dysfunctional as it is now, but it started off somewhere. It didn't just get to this point of fuckery. You know, this fuckery started somewhere down the line of generations or generations ago. I mean, there's always been dysfunction in the black American community with slavery and all that horrific stuff that we've been through historically in this country as black people. But the glass is now overflowed, you know. It can't get even more dysfunctional than it is now. And I see the dysfunction every day, specifically with black people. We're more fucked up than other races of people, you know. I hate to say this, but I think that's true. Sometimes I really think that's true that us black people, as a collective, as a community, we're more fucked up than other people are. Like I really truly believe that sometimes. I mean, and that just goes off of what I see with my own two eyes. Like we're living in sin more than other races. A lot of us. And I might be wrong, cause these other races, I might be wrong, but these other races, they're dysfunctional as fuck too. But maybe they just hide their dysfunction better than black people. But going off what I see with my own two eyes, you know, I don't see white women opposing the majority of their of white men. You know, I don't see white women opposing the majority of their race of men. I see black women opposing the majority of black men. I don't see Latino women opposing the majority of Latino men. I don't see that. I see the majority of black women opposing Latino men. I see the majority of black women opposing their own race of men. And I experience this stuff. I see with my own two eyes. As black men, as black people, we can see these things with our own two eyes. You know, when I go outside, I don't see white trannies. When I go outside, I don't see Hispanic trannies. When I go outside, I don't see Asian trannies. When I go outside, I see black trannies. I don't see, I don't see or hear white men killing their white brothers. I don't really see. I know this happens in the Hispanic community, but you really don't see Hispanics killing other Hispanics like that. But whenever you turn on the news, whenever you go on the computer, whenever you turn on the TV, you hear about a black man killing another black man. And the black community, we're living in sin right now. I mean, like I said earlier, with the trannies, that's homosexuality. That's a sin. Um, Killing people, that's a sin. A lot of our brothers in the inner city are killing each other. That's a sin. And this individual mindset that black women have, you know, that's ungodly. Women, especially women weren't supposed to do everything by themselves. Women are supposed to be led by men. Women weren't meant, especially women, they weren't meant to be individualistic, you know. But our women, our black women, they have this individualistic mindset. Oh, they be thinking they don't need a man and all that type of stuff. They can do everything by themselves. And God didn't make things. God didn't intend things to be that way. You know, God meant in in God's way, things are supposed to be. A community is supposed to be healthy. A family structure is supposed to be healthy. There's supposed to be a man and a woman in the household. You know, that's God's way. And the way that the black community are doing things right now, we're so far away from God. We're so dysfunctional. And that's why God has to remove these coon ass niggas from the earth. You know, in order for God's chosen Israelite man to start his nation, he's gonna have to kill off other black people who would try to fuck up this new nation that God wants us to build. You know, a lot of these black people in this black American community, in God's eyes, are dead weight. They can't do shit. How can these coon ass niggas help build God's nation if they just want to kill another black man? How can killing another black man help build God's nation? How can women who want to oppose God's chosen Israelite men, who want to oppose men, who want to hate black men, how can that mentality, that individualistic mentality to fuck up a family structure, how can that benefit God's Israelite new nation? I mean, a lot of us Black Americans are dead weight, and most of us are going to fall with Babylon because of it.